on have been incredible with the Camille supports. So the respect there between these two excellent supports as well.
Yeah, no surprises that we see the Orianna banned away from Knight, banned in 50% of his games in the LPL. The majority of the time then picked away from him. He has not lost on this pick in the 4 games he's played it at all this split. We'll see with the Bard getting taken away from Keria, another player who is synonymous with that champion. Unsurprising to see that removed from the pool.
Yeah, with mid lane only having Orianna out right now, one of the main power picks. The Cassio is still available, the Ryze is still available. Let's see what direction we go with, because mid lane especially is going to be a focus here, of course, with Knight coming in with such incredible stats. There you go, another target respect ban. Even though Syndra got buffed on this patch, it's also a Legacy Knight champion. Definitely have to be fearful there.
Yeah, one of those champions he made his name on it. Let's see what the first pick of this HyperX champ select is, as BLG might focus towards those solo lanes. Get something good for Bin, get something good for Knight, get something that you can carry through the top side on, because in our estimations, at least, and I think most people's estimations, T1's priority will be getting a bot lane that can get ahead.
Yeah, this matchup does look like a lot of solo lane power versus bot lane power. And they're going to start out with that solo lane power, lock in the Jayce for Bin. And that's also part of the power of the Nocturne ban. It really does allow you to play more through side lanes. Banning out this Nocturne is definitely critical if that is going to be your avenue to success. And so it does help out with a blind Jayce pick like that. Meanwhile, we mentioned the Cassiopeia still floating around, being up and available, and Faker's going to grab that one immediately.
Yeah, alongside it, Oner's Vi going to get locked in, his second most played across the course of spring. Only lost 1 game on it through the last few months, so no surprises that T1 want a powerful mid jungle, especially giving Oner something that has agency through the game and can team up with multiple portions of the map. BLG here likely to look towards, I was gonna say their jungler, but instead they're going for the mage that we most often see in the bot lane.
Yeah, could be bot, could even be mid too. Knight is undefeated still on Ziggs.
That's true.
9-0 record on it, so flexible, not if they lock in the Annie though. And then it would definitely be going to Viper. And let's see if they do it, because he has also been excellent on Annie. It's crazy the flexibility and the directions that they could go. They're going to keep it a little hidden here, keep it a flex, pick Ziggs, and go with the value of the Poppy, just seeing the Vi.
It's interesting that you do it with just the Vi, but Vi does imply that you want this dive pop with someone else to follow up on it. Things like the Rakan, the Kai'Sa then fit into that wheelhouse, and Poppy can work really well into that.
Now, the choice for T1, do they want to get Doran, you know, like Yorick counterpick to the Jayce or something like that?
Yeah.
Or would they rather have, well, okay, they would immediately,
answer your question, Kobe.
They would immediately like to do that instead of going with a more tanky route, which is kind of the other option that you have. And Yorick does play more into the side pressure.
Also allows you to survive through that lane with some of the innate sustain you have off your last rights. Moving into the second ban phase, we see a likely top laner, AD carry, and jungler picked for BLG, whereas on the other side, it's a most likely, again, mid laner, top laner, and jungler. We have seen the Cassio flexed already once today. Unlikely to see it flexed again, I'll say, if you're picking an AP mage bot. Usually we see things like the Mel and the Ziggs instead.
Yeah, and T1, they don't want any more synergy with the Ziggs bomb. Jarvan off the table, as well as the Camille already from the earlier bans. Things that are just going to make it too easy for that damage to land. But BLG already showing some pretty good range, good poke damage with both AD poke from Jayce and AP from the Ziggs. So T1 going to have to worry about some of this range and find their ways for their hard engage. Having the Vi and the point and click, definitely a good start for them.
And the issue is when the enemy team has range, you want to close that gap, but that Poppy pick really negates a lot of ways for you to close that gap. Inspired pick from BLG getting into this second phase. Ezreal taken away by BLG, not wanting to give a little bit of range over to T1 either. Yeah,
don't want to let him match it just quite yet. And take away some of the more flexible bottom lanes. You mentioned it, T1, like they have played so much towards Peyz and Keria. They have really been able to carry. Let's see what the final ban here towards BLG and possibly Shen, even though the Poppy also is flexible.
We're held in suspense for a couple of moments, Kobe, as the champ select jumps down off our screens. With the amount of tissues being picked up, is that a water spillage? It's a possibility. I don't want to pontificate.
So everything up until the Karma ban is going to be repeated, and then the Karma ban is what changes. That is That is our branch in the timeline that we are taking here in this draft.
So my expectations are we see a J4 and an Ezreal ban, and then we'll see where we go from there. There's the Jarvan. Ezreal for BLG would be the next ban if I've jotted it down correctly. I didn't even see the Karma ban, I'll be honest. Maybe I was looking away from the screen as it happened.
Okay.
But okay. So the Ezreal I saw was a Karma instead. That is my mistake.
Yeah, that must have been the info then. Okay, so the Ezreal is switched for the Karma. I mean, it's kind of similar because usually they're paired, but Karma can also go with so many other things to be strong lanes too. So that is the pivot here. Take away Karma for the bottom lane. So, I mean, there's still so many options. I mean, technically, there still has been a decent priority on Varus, and Nico is available in the bottom lane as well. Lots of good combinations.
Trundle going to get taken away by T1. The pillar can stop some of the engage coming out from Vi with that Vault Breaker. A little surprised because you don't really have a true tank on your team, so the Subjugate doesn't get as much value, and you already know your jungler, so you're not looking at something like a Zhin that can be beaten out by the Trundle. Yeah,
sometimes the pillar is just so good at setting up poke teams.
True.
So maybe it's just like the assist for pillar into Jayce and Ziggs poke makes it really hard to dodge those as well. And again, BLG have been leaning into the extra range advantage here and trying to poke out this Cassiopeia comp. But when you've got a Vi and a Nautilus medic, now you have both of the main go buttons that even exist in League of Legends. So good point and click here from T1 to try and put a stop to BLG's poke and get those engages going.
So what do BLG need if they're going to try and avoid some of this engage? They've already got the Poppy, that works well. Could look for something like a Wukong just to Cyclone disengage from some of these fights, because they've got now their team entirely locked apart from that jungler. Neferi, the current hover for BLG.
Now Neferi is interesting because it's good in multiple ways versus the Vi. Obviously you can go untargetable and you can deny ultimates. But it looks like they're actually going to keep the Poppy as jungle instead and lock something different here for On to be a playmaker on the team. Combination with the Ziggs. Okay, we go with his Shen again. On gets very active with his Shen. Mid lane has to be aware of these taunt flashes and the possible ganks. BLG definitely love getting active early with On, with Shen, pairing up and wreaking havoc across the map, especially up into those solo lanes, and really getting Bin and Knight into good positions.
Jhin, the final lock for T1. They're trying to find a little bit of poke for themselves at the start of fights, catch someone out with the Deadly Flourish or with the Curtain Call just for the slows. I love the Shen pick though. So often we see it talked about just as disengage for the Vi. Vi ults in, stand united, Spirit's Refuge. Good luck, Vi. All your damage comes from auto attacks. But as you say, On is so proactive on the map that it also bridges you into a later portion of the game where your poke is going to have more of an effect.
Plus it can do a lot to help out the side lanes later on if Doran is trying to split push with this Yorick.
So true.
And of course you have another answer here. And we do I do have a lot of faith in Bin's, Jayce even into a counter pick, so we'll see how it does play out early on.
After a couple of delays in Champion Select, the main course is ready. A smorgasbord of glory and honor between these two teams as T1 and BLG will battle it out on the rip. The question is, which team will be able to land that first punch? Which team will be able to get back off the mat? We've seen a reverse sweep already this MSI. All I know is I want it to go to 5.
Oh, I hope so. What an epic matchup we have here. In the recent years, it has been the way of T1, but now we're at MSI.
MSI is BLG's turf in this matchup. Last year they did lose 3-0, but in 2024 they won. In 2024 they won again, and in 2023 they also won. So of the 4 series they played before today, at MSI it has been heavily BLG favored as we make our way on to Summoner's Rift. Both the supports going up towards the top side to kick things off. Wards placed in the bush, but it's going to be much ado about nothing as neither of the top laners are caught out.
Yeah, vision for these brush in top lane, so critical when you want to go with that poke pattern and drop minion aggro. And we've seen the support level 1s up to top lane have infected so many of those matchups so heavily.
Vendetta is the new set coming out from Riftbound. You can grab your Jayce, your Mel cards, and I'm sure a bunch of other cards as well. There are pre-Rift events starting before July 31st, but July 31st is the official release date. Make sure you get to your pre-Rifts and your Nexus Nights. You can grab a bunch of cool cards.
And then tweet at Medic, because he'll help you build your deck. He is in there on Riftbound.
I'm addicted to it, I've got to say. We see trading happening in the bot lane. Keria trying to step up to get that level 2. A couple of minions for them. There we are. Peyz gets it first. Keria missed one because of his jaunt towards the top lane. And Viper and On respect the fact that, yeah, you can't really fight into a 4th shot level 2 Jhin.
Yeah, definitely not. And with both junglers pathing away too, it's going to be isolated in the matchup down there. Faker does land his Noxious Blast. He's running fairly low on mana.
I mean, something all great mid laners do, but Faker does especially, is trade his health and his mana early game just to try and get that enemy low. Give them that little bit of trepidation about stepping up, especially against something like a Vi where the Q flash is such a deadly combination.
And since they do have the ward, seeing Poppy right now too, gonna have full confidence in going for these trades.
Nice, gonna step forward, Siphon Power, gets the Enchanted auto attack, but as you can see across the years, things did start off BLG favored, but then at Worlds, over and over again, it is T1 that finds the upper hand.
Yeah, epic matchups, all of them between these two organizations. Culminating here, and now with the taunt.
Just an aftershock exchange between the two supports there, as Keria and Peyz do have the early push. Viper obviously on the Ziggs can get pushed later on, but before you have your lost chapter, it becomes a little bit harder to actually find that damage because you're just going to run out of mana.
Crowd getting excited there with the satchel charge, but there were still minions alive, so tower is...
I think the crowd's going to get excited about a lot of things.
Oh yeah, and I would be. It is packed in here.
Yeah.
Literally every seat is filled in this arena. Would expect no less, especially here in Korea. Let's see about some early roams, though. We've got the junglers resetting after their first clears, so you have a little bit of time. And we talked about Shen and On kind of linking up. Looks like Shen going to head back out for the bottom Scuttle Crab just to even that Scuttle Crab count up. And On will get his recall as well. That's what you like to see for a River Shen. Boots, Medic.
Oh,
boots,
he's just going to be everywhere, man. All over the map. Keria opening up through mid at the moment. The GOAT support, in his own words. Also, I think
a lot of other people's words too.
I mean, yes, 100%. I think we all agree with him, and a guy that is usually relatively humble has earned the right to give himself that title, as a lot of other people have, as you say. I think the battle at the moment, in my mind, is between him and Knight for who is actually the best player in the world. And both of them have performed incredibly well for their teams over the last couple of months. Faker stepping forward, misses the Noxious Blast, doesn't get the poison, does level up. The hook's going to come out of Keria as On tries to join the fray in the mid lane, but can't find any sort of connection.
Yeah, I like it. They're keeping to their separate battles. Mid versus mid, support versus support.
Honorable, you know?
Yeah, Keria's like, hey, get back here. We're just going to watch this. All right, Doran trying to get the extra CS here in front of tower. Been doing what he needs to do here on the Jayce and getting that first turret plate. Keeping his pressure up early on. Trying to make the most of it here before Doran gets his ultimate, gets his wife onto the Summoner's Rift. Faker, though.
On. Oh, Faker has to flash. The taunt flash, too much of a deterrent. Faker realizes if he was caught by that ninja, he would be down.
Yeah, you have to respect it. So good that play there from On. Just goes in, gets the flash. Very efficient stuff here. And the control ward up behind red buff is actually going to get it found pretty early. Shen's going to go find that one. Poppy walks over it. He actually had to backtrack because he was really looking to gank topside. But he gets that control ward. Meanwhile, both supports trying to help the mid laners on these waves. Faker, of course, has no flash. So he needs the extra safety of Oner and Keria to finish out the push and get him the reset.
He gets it. Should be able to back away pretty easily as a couple of pings come out towards where the junglers are likely to be. The Krogs respawning. T1 note that Shen is going up towards that top side, and with BLG also aware that Oner will be going towards his Gromp and clearing down towards bot. Haven't really seen any sort of dragon play, but we do see both the supports have abandoned the bottom lane. You do get slightly less golden experience from your World Atlas when you're not in bot lane as a support. It's about 25%, but it's nothing too substantial. I actually think support is the least punished role for not being in their lane for those role quests.
Yeah, and we've seen it this tournament start to become fairly prevalent. Support spending a lot of time around mid. They're not much for the quests.
You get it anyway. You order a few minions, they die, it's fine. But speaking of a quest, been on a quest to garner himself quite a sizable advantage in the top lane. Already 600 gold ahead. We might see a battle over the Scuttle Crab.
Crab Quest is Bin is going to help it
Oner
out.
goes in, Shen lands the smite, gets level 6 off it, has that keeper's verdict. Dredgeline still manages to knock back one as he is able to walk away. Petrifying gaze out from Viktor, he finds a solo kill in the 1v2.
I mean, there's not going to be any rebuttal. I mean, there's no flash used here by On. Nicely done from Faker. Miasma against the wall and just burns him down. Yes, BLG did get the crab. They got the crab quest, but they lose the first blood in their efforts.
And it's one of the weaknesses of these engaged supports is you are really squishy early game, especially into something like a Cassio that can just spam and spam and spam those twin fangs. It looks like On is just trying to connect with Shen and Bin, but as he steps forward, Faker's having none of it.
And it looks like he has his heal and ready right now. But Faker, yeah, good miasma against the wall, pops the ult for slow, and with the poison and with the twin fang, instantly able to get enough damage. Yeah, didn't like that.
Yeah. Understandably, I think the audience here, though, having a whale of a time as T1 get a 400 gold lead. The majority of that sitting on Faker in the mid lane, who's having to balance out the lead that Bin has acquired towards top.
On is an interesting story too, because last year the big conversation was around, oh, everyone loves making the on or off jokes, but this year he was very, very good. It was on all the time, especially with first stand. Looked really nice from him. So we'll see as this series does continue, and this year has been very reliable. But Keria's back out and into the jungle really early, helping out Oner again. He leashes the red buff, brings it back into the bush for Oner. Patience dropping quickly on it, though. Yeah,
On's on the way across. Has the flash, has the taunt. Oner and Keria will settle for the grubs instead of the enemy red buff, so we'll still get an advantage for T1 in terms of neutral objectives, but Viper has been left alone in the bot lane for quite a while this has been happening, and because of that, he's been able to get a couple of plates, about a 300 gold advantage.
Yeah, Ziggs, the demolitionist. Yeah. All going according to plan there, and it's even more important as On now getting poisoned again. It is even more important to deny Ziggs teams the grubs, because they did buff up the extra damage from the grubs buff that you get from it. So T1 going to go for that top side play, and BLG will answer with the dragon take accordingly.
Be an easy enough objective trade, one we see really often at the moment. I wonder with this Yorick how much damage Doran can do to those standing towers.
Yeah.
Because the grubs do help you out a lot on the push, and that's kind of his job, at least for the early portions of this game, is just push, 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 try and get as many of those plates as possible.
Meanwhile, we have a focus on top side. Vi has ultimate, Oner's heading up to the top side, so they very well could go for a dive. Keria's not 6 yet for Nautilus, but it doesn't matter. They've got the Vi ult.
Feels a little dangerous, especially with a Spirit's Refuge available. Bin is squishy, sure, as is On, but you have to actually get the damage to stick, and you've got auto attackers up here rather than a mage, something like the Cassio that can actually do the damage while that Spirit's Refuge is down.
Definitely would be very dangerous. So Oner says, never mind, I'm out to my re-clear. Back to bottom side from Krugs up. We'll end up on that side of the map again, but all fairly calm in the early stages aside from that first blood.
Both teams happy enough just to farm up, even gold at 10 minutes as well. Next objective still about 4 minutes away, with the Hextech Drake being the main one that is about to spawn, but starting to see the builds towards those first items. Faker going for the double stacking with the Rod of Ages and the Tear already in his inventory, almost halfway stacked as well on the Tear. Got that very early on in the lane. On the other side, Knight, I mean, he's struggled a little bit in this lane to have as much impact as he'd like, but he is on something like a Viktor, which will scale up incredibly well as the game goes on. He's being able to build up those stats. He's had an incredible performance across this split in the LPL.
Let's take a look at some of those stats from this year, by the way, Medic. Speaking of incredible stats for Knight, for BLG, he has just done everything in the LPL this split. Absolutely crazy stats he's been putting up, and definitely has huge performances. So a lot of people anticipating a lot of his mid matchups here, because that was the conversation. People are like, okay, but a lot of the really good mid laners are in the LCK, so they want to see what Knight is going to do in this particular form versus some different competition as well, because he has proved that he is by far the best mid laner in the LPL and absolutely dominated.
And his Viktor is something that he's proved that on as well. He's played it 5 times and won on it 5 times. Scorelines like 10-0-10 against JDG. Played it against top eSports as well with 3-1-9 is Keria. Pulled out a little bit by On.
That's huge.
Yeah.
This Shen ultimate, the first support Shen ultimate, and it just gets Keria's flash.
Looking for the engage there. Stephos present coming out from Shen as the TP is used by BLG. They want the fight. Oner taunted flash onto Doran as well. Oner with a cease and desist. He's trying to get to the wall and he just can't get out. Knight claims the first kill of the tournament for BLG.
Yeah, he teleports up to the top side. On goes for the taunt and flash, and he gets one. They taunt him up. They get the extra money. Now with the Ziggs on top side too, Ziggs is going to be able to take a lot of turret plates on top side for them. So even though Peyz does get to hit bottom, BLG with the answer play up there, trying to answer the return from T1. They're going to get first tower bonus.
Let a couple more minions die to the turret. Bin stays around, and BLG will accelerate a 1.6k gold lead now. Peyz unable to take all of this tower. Will take a couple of plates off it, but now maybe he's overextended as there's a flank coming down. I was baited a little bit by the observers with the vision there. Shen instead just goes towards the Scuttle Crab.
So interesting because BLG, you know, the initial play, I thought it was a good escape from Keria, from T1, but they made the call to try and turn back around, and the BLG are like, fine, we'll just send everybody, and we'll get Viper up there too. Now, we'll see what they can do with their gold lead since the next dragon is fairly close, and they should be able to set up nicely for it. On is actually getting the vision early.
Doran needs to get away from Bin, puts down the Dark Possession. Bin flashes over it and doesn't have to fear a tower. Doran with the flash away, but Bin looking for those final auto attacks. Won't be able to find him. Morning Mist puts the ghouls on him, 6 it, there's the curtain calls as Bin locked up against the wall! Daddy Doran outplays Bin!
Doran said, I need to teach Bin some lessons, and he hits him with the shovel. A little bit of help from his boy Peyz. Nice W here on the Jhin from the mid lane. Peyz is able to set him up and allow Doran to clap back.
And you don't blame Bin for that aggression either. He is winning that 1v1 decisively, but the expectation that Peyz is there when Drake is only up in 6 seconds, like, surprising to say the least, but Bin overextends, and Doran now with 3 grubs with a maiden. Get paid, as you say. On, forced away by the twin fangs of Faker. A Cobra, not an adder in this game. Is that Cassio? Noxious Blast lands on Shen as well. Faker's just forced them both out. That's the jungler and support. Down to about half HP each.
Faker farming some damage per minute stats here on all these melees.
That was his intent as well. Nothing to do with like pushing them away from the Drake. It's like, nah, man, my DPS, I got to get it higher.
Man, I mean, every time you see him on screen, he's poisoned and he's running for his life.
True.
I mean, Faker has absolutely destroyed On's game, and On is a level down on Keria now too. It is really, really hurting. Dragon stacking for BLG not even going to be an issue as T1 immediately gain control.
Yeah, often we see that fight around the 3rd Drake when BLG have got the first 2, T1 have played towards the top side, got the grubs, got some tower plates, got some extra gold in their pockets here. We see even now at that 1st Drake.
Yeah, I mean, Shen without flash is really not threatening at all, and Faker with the confidence moves back up. Again, bullying him back to Fountain means he's going to remain level 6 for quite a while.
Lovely flash lands onto Oner, dashes away from it. I think part of it as well is like T1 aren't over-investing in some of this chip damage as Knight comes in. There's the Stand United and onto Doran. A 2v1 is not one he can win. Knight claims his 2nd. All the kills for BLG currently sitting on his shoulders.
Yeah, Knight is used to having the money. He's going to get paid again here. So this is a good ult from On. Gets down there. And look at that. Slingshots him up in the experience. Being able to get the assist on this kill against the level 11 top laner. Really nice for him as well. So good for Knight, good for On as well. And they just give up the topside Herald there. I think it's definitely well worth it for BLG. They need Knight to be very strong, and he is going to be.
about 500 gold ahead. Bin with about 1,000 gold lead in the top side. We'll have another look at it. Doran thinks he can trade. At this point realizes he definitely can't as the Stand United comes in, and then after that, it's not much he can do.
And this is one of the reasons we're pointing out the Shen in Champion Select is for these side lane plays. You know, Knight and On talking really early. Hey, I'm just going to move up on him. Let's get the early ult. They're going to go invest resources towards that Rift Herald. So let's make that time count on the map, and they certainly do that.
Still pretty much in the balance this game. 1,000 lead for BLG as they look for Doran once again. The slam doesn't land him against the wall, but the keeper's verdict locks him up, and with the gravity well down, there is no escape. Last rites for a bit of healing. Might be able to escape in the end. Knight takes the kill and then tries to get out, but the cease and desist in the dredge line, and it's time to Peyz the Piper. He comes across the wall. Oner kills Knight. Peyz takes down Shen as T1 get a kill in advantage.
Avengers assemble. You can only go after Doran so many times before the rest of T1 are going to collapse. Faker, though, look at on the minimap. The Shen is walking pretty far. Faker's got his empowered recall, though, and he is going to be able to get out of there. But, I mean, T1, they are able to get more for it. That is the teleport for Knight as well. He tried to make the play really quickly. But they were unable to make the play quick enough. Maybe if Doran had been a little bit closer to the wall and they had actually gotten the full Poppy Stun into the wall for the extra little bit of damage, maybe that little split second of extra time might have been enough for Knight to be able to teleport out there, but just barely didn't get it. Yeah, so as you see there, as the replay started, Doran still got to walk back a little bit. And so while they're still able to kill him, on the minimap, you see the rest of T1 heading down here, and Knight's teleport, he was trying to get out of there, does get interrupted, as well as hooking in the extra kill to pay Peyz.
T1 with a good collapse towards the bottom side. BLG weren't able to get much on the top side of the map while that was happening. They do still have about 1,000 gold lead, but once again, it's Faker in the side lane picking up this tower gold. Only 200 behind Knight, and he's still 2 kills behind him. Now has the Seraphs and the Rod of Ages at 7 stacks. It feels like next fight could be incredibly decisive in this game because of how close it is. If one team wins it by 3-4 kills, it really then begins to blow up in their favor.
Yeah, the rewards get very, very big in a minute and a half because Baron arriving at 20 minutes and we're fighting already.
Keria going in for the hook on there with the Taunt. Petrifying Gaze coming out as well as Keria tries to escape. Shen slams against the wall with that heroic charge, and now the teeth taken out of the attack from T1 as Keria is sent to the grave.
Hey, Keria down early, well before the Baron though, so the reward there, not quite yet. But nice little bit of gold here into BLG to set them up for the next fight. 27 seconds on that Dragon. And you have to think they're going to look for another Shen Stand United play. On actually canceled his recall though, so he's going to try and stay out here on the map at the mid wave instead of going back and looking for his Stand United play. So we'll see about that setup for that Dragon. Doran will continue to split push, teleport available for him.
Yeah, basically no vision at the Dragon right now for either team. There's a single T1 ward that I can see on the minimap. Peyz trying to get the mid prio so he can work across towards it. 2 items though on Knight and on Viper. Horizon Focus and Ludens, Blackfire Torch and the Rocket Belt. On the other side, Peyz also has 2. As does Faker, but Rod of Age is still only at 8 stacks, so it doesn't have that extra level. BLG gain control of the river right now.
And they invested the Shen teleport to do it. They really thought T1 were gonna rush down here, so they were trying to catch up to the play. They used the Stand United, so the shield there won't be available for this. And there, yeah, I mean, you run in there, you get some vision, but they're gonna still lose the objective.
Doran pushing up, looking for the tower. There's the Drake to T1. Is only the second of the game for either team, so not too impactful yet as the Rift Herald finds its way around, but the Zephyrs presence is going to get the knockdown onto Keria. Mega Inferno Bomb as well. Oner with a good cease and desist. He's going to try and get across the wall as T1. All hail the retreat, but Keria has other ideas. He goes all guns blazing forward, but can't find a CC chain for the rest of T1 to react.
Oh yeah, he makes the call to go back in, but he just immediately goes down. BLG on the attack again.
Rocket Belt forward from Knight, just looking for poke onto Peyz here. Isn't going to have too much more, wants him low so that BLG can try and open up the mid lane by taking down this tier 1.
Yeah, the siege definitely scary here. Again, they have so much range, so much poke with the Jayce and the Ziggs available. The
Good
Faker!
catch on the side from Faker. Shen knocks him back with a keeper's verdict. The curtains open! And Peyz bends the bullet!
What in the? He threads the needle right there.
That's the jungler dead as well, Kobe. T1, it's 20 minutes.
That looked like they were lined up, but he gets it right by the Shen. On does not block it, and T1 onto the Baron, only 21 minutes into the game. There's no jungler for BLG.
BLG are TPing in here. It's going to be Viper and Knight, but that Baron's already down to 3k. Oner with the smite. Mega Inferno bomb comes down, but Oner lands the smite. On looking at a flank position, a 4v5 for BLG, and they can't find more out of it. T1 all able to retreat together. Faker puts some miasma down just to stop Knight in his tracks. But they're still looking for more, hoping for offset resets here out of T1. And BLG will just claim the blue.
That was so swingy, Medic. It was crazy. BLG were on a power play, sieging. Thought they were just going to use the advantage of their Ziggs and their Jayce at the tower. I mean, it all starts with this, though. We're going back to the origins, and you're driving Herald versus a Poppy. So look at Shen right now. Shen is like, okay, where are you going to come out? He blocks him. He's able to get the interrupt, and they get a decent amount of damage done. Keria does use his flash to escape initially, but then they make the call. T1 make the call to go back in, and Keria does die anyway. So I thought that with the extra advantage of the siege here with the Ziggs and the Jayce, they were going to find something. It's just Faker, the snake, around the fog of war. And then here, it looks like they're really trying to keep it stable. Shen even had S-keyed, but then he starts moving again a little bit just around the edge there.
It's an elevation diff.
Yeah.
It's an elevation diff. And Peyz finds the exact millimeter that he needed.
I actually blame Shen more than on that one, because he walked up a little bit crooked instead of just continuing to walk straight the other angle out. But I mean, the ramifications of that were huge.
Yeah, that is a Baron to T1. A Red Bull Baron power play for the next 90 seconds. They haven't been able to get too much off it as of yet. Only 600 gold their advantage, but they can still manage to push in these lanes. You have a good split push in Doran. Like, he is 1,000 gold behind, but he's got his Triforce complete. He's doing everything he needs to do with that Maid in the Mist. Oner caught a little bit here by Shen as he tries to step into this jungle. Sephir's presence holding him in place, but Oner's still able to walk away, and T1 as a three-man squad can step forward. Shen trying to get a little bit of vision, but there's nothing really for him to garner, as now because of this, Bin has to step back. T1 will take a tier 2 in the top side. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, it is Faker who has jumped on. Petrifying Gaze is dodged by Knight, but Faker with the flash. Knight flashes over, he's going to get hooked for it. The Arcane Storm doing a lot of work with the curtain calls coming out as well. And On trying to block the shots, this time Knight doesn't fall. And T1 lose their mid laner, lose their talisman, and lose any chance to push further with this Baron buff.
I mean, that is critical. Putting a stop to the pushing here. BLG, I mean, On just gets his revenge on Faker finally. He does have flash this time, so he's able to get his Taunt flash onto Faker in the mid lane. They get their kill, and they put a stop to the pushing. It does not completely swing the game or anything, but, I mean, this one incredibly close still.
It really is. 800 gold between the two teams in 24 minutes. 2 Drakes to 1. Baron about to expire. T1 unable to break through the inhibitor line, which is really what you want to see from that first Baron, or at least all of the tier 2s, because of the movement of BLG, because of the decisiveness of BLG, which is something they are so often praised for. T1 were only able to find a single tier 2 out of the push.
Now, though, you're going to have to team fight with Knight having no flash and Faker having no flash. Both these mid laners have to be very, very careful with their positioning. And on the side of T1, they have 2 point-and-click, very easy target abilities here with the Nautilus, with the Vi.
Peyz though, step up, Arcane Storm immediately. Has to just walk away, but that's half his health. 9 seconds on the Chemtech Drake. T1 can give this. It's only the second of the game for BLG, and I think T1 should just back away. Peyz does heal up a ton, though, as Shen looks for the engage down towards the bottom side. Good keeper's verdict. Oner down, jungler down, and Doran on the wrong side of dodge. BLG begin to collapse onto him, and there's no escape. Buried in a grave that he has dug as BLG find 2, unable to dash away from Peyz. T1 still eyeing up a fight, but now it looks like they've decided mid lane their priority instead. Yeah, BLG were more cohesive there, grouped together, ready for the play at the tribe rush. While T1 were split, they had Doran on bottom wave still and Faker in mid wave. So Peyz, another good play for BLG. Oh, the taunt doesn't land it because of that. Peyz is able to walk away. Did still have cleanse. Dredgeon going in, depth charge onto the backline as well. On takes a big chunk out of Peyz, but now he's got no bullets left in his gun, and Shen looks to chase him down. Rocket belt forward from Knight won't be enough. Peyz, only 2 left in the magazine. Won't be able to defend against 3 of BLG. Reloads, takes a second, looks to see if his team will back him up. And in the end, the minion wave doesn't die quickly enough for the satchel charge not to do its work.
Another good grouping there from BLG, having everybody stick around in mid lane. Peyz and Keria trying to get that mid wave, and they are punished again. BLG, they grow their gold lead so quickly, Medic, in addition to the extra dragon.
You can see in the Coinbase gold grind, Knight getting all of that extra gold from the couple of extra kills is really the difference between these two mid laners. Faker's done a really good job of being in the side lanes, getting extra gold from the CS, but here I thought Peyz was just done for. On goes in for the taunt and is just a millimeter wide.
But then Keria also, again, he goes in here when BLG have 4 people coming over to the area. I mean, they didn't know because Viper was walking down lane and they had Shen moving up through jungle. Yeah. But hooking back in and then flashing out again, this Nautilus very well could be another kill target. Definitely vulnerable to going down. You can see even on the side lanes here, Doran having to play very cautiously now. And the damage from BLG is just going to get insane. You've got Muramana transformation for Bin. Viper is 3-item power spike himself and the extra little half item of Blighted Jewel for magic penetration. So huge poke damage is available that we were worried about from BLG now with multiple members on their 3-item spikes.
And we haven't seen Faker have the chance to really sink in multiple Twin Fangs in a fight either. Peyz does have some damage on his side. A 3-item Jhin is nothing to be sniffed at, especially the 4th shot, but the Spirit's Refuge negates all of that. Faker is the one that you're looking to actually have that consistent DPS throughout the fight. And T1 really, it feels like they haven't picked a fight on their terms recently either. And
he did just get his actualizer for the Cassiopeia. So yeah, you're looking for a Miasma follow-up.
Keria goes in, slammed against the wall, Miasma down as well. That's Faker and Oner try and dash forward, knock up onto On and Shen, but look at the health bars. It is not T1 who are winning. Oner dives onto the back line and dives for it. Doran tries to jump in. A meat shield is all he can be, and a satchel charge will be his epitaph as Doran falls to Viper. Keria chased out by Shen towards the top side, slammed into the wall and slammed into the grave. BLG find 3 and T1 have no purchase on this game. A deadly flourish will land though onto On as Faker finds the Miasma to answer with one of their own.
Can Faker and Peyz create something here? 2v4 at the Baron.
The curtains open. What do we see? 4th shot loaded in the chamber. Bin down from it. BLG 5,000 on the Baron. They'll stick on it for now. The satchel charge trying to keep Faker at bay. 3K now for the Baron. As Shen is just looking for that smite, should be able to secure it, will get it. Now in the back of the pit, Steadfast Presence lands the slam, but the cleanse away from Peyz means that he'll escape. BLG want to live with this Baron to fight another day.
Peyz!
But Peyz has other plans! Knight tries to trade back onto him, and the Arcane Sword will find one. Faker needs to run away from it as well. Knight low on mana, Petrifying Gaze will find him, and Knight is going to fall. T1 somehow, from somewhere, from the depths of nothing, turn around the fights.
BLG get the Baron, but T1 destroy the evidence. They kill everyone wearing the buff.
Just incredible. A match for the ages in the first round of MSI 2026. At this point, I thought T1 were doomed.
Yeah, I mean, it starts out, and BLG are going to get so much damage into Oner. He gets annihilated there by Bin and Knight, and then they're moving forward with the Chaos Storm ticking. Doran uses the Blast Cone to go over, but you called it again. He gets knocked up here by Viper's satchel charge back into the team, and so he gets killed very quickly too. And then you're in a situation where you are 2v4 at the Baron. Peyz, this catches up where he already sniped out 1 member, and they're going to be able to take down 2 more. He keeps his 4th shot. He knows Faker can handle the other kill. I'm going to go kill Viper. He emotes as he flashes over with the kill. And since they already have Oner back on the map, they know they're going to be able to get the wrap around Faker, though. He takes the opportunity to get the angle with his ulti and allow Oner to finish up the shutdown.
Sometimes T1 do something that is just magical. Like, it's just wizardry. It's witchcraft.
And then BLG do something equally as magical, and they take it back. I mean, we're back into it. 2-2 on Dragons. Only 1,300 gold separates us, and BLG have position on this Dragon. They want to get to Soul Point.
Peyz a long way away. Deadly Flourish coming out won't land. I think BLG will just back away before the fight. The mid lane push, though, for T1. They can try and take that tier 2 down. get a little bit of gold back in their pockets. Basically, at this point, the gold is even. 1,000 here, 1,000 there. Nothing too substantial. Verdant Barrier finished for Faker. Guardian Angel on Oner. Shen doesn't have that extra life in the next fight yet. This
is why we're so excited for this matchup.
Oh,
Two heavyweights going at it here. A slugfest at MSI. All right, now, Viper has been key. I mean, he only got that one death after the Baron in the previous one, but he has an arm guard now and has the fully completed Void Staff for the full magic penetration. So the burst damage available from BLG's side here is getting very, very scary. But again, with the point and click and with the engage here from T1, they have a lot of options to create havoc, and they have the extra Guardian Angel on Oner now, so he can full send it.
Yeah, he and Keria are the two that you're looking to start the fights for T1. And then you're looking at the rest of them to navigate all of the poke that's coming out from BLG, because that's how fights are going to go. If BLG are first on an objective, they'll be able to poke and poke and poke and poke before T1 get in, which is why Keria and Oner are going so quickly for that initiation, for that fight, even if it looks like it might not be the best position to fight in.
I always find it funny when nobody wants to kill the last hit on the control word. They're like, you take the control word. No, I've got stuff to do. You take it. Now finally Keria goes back. They do finish out that control word as T1 are able to push all three lanes back in for themselves. Faker on the top side. Doran playing it fairly cautiously down there on the other side too, though. Just going to retreat before BLG have a chance to catch him.
Next fight, I'm going to say 2 minutes, Kobe. I think both teams want that moment to breathe.
Really? Is anything in particular indicating the 2 minute mark?
Obviously, because the Baron's coming up, man. I'm just saying they're not going to fight before that point, you know? I'm saying no one's going to go and try and steal away a red buff and then get caught out and die. You know, Shen just takes away the Mega Blast Cone there. Oner not spotted, but BLG likely just to try and get that push in the bot lane and then back away. Bin still with a sizable lead in the bot side, but 3 items complete on Doran. And a little bit of extra magic resist means that he is not unkillable, but shouldn't be easily taken down in a 1v1.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with you. You know, everybody's always looking towards the Baron spawn. The funny thing is when you can try and fish around and blow someone's flash, like that is just feels so good when you have a couple minutes, you know, heading towards Baron. And with some high damage, you know, burst cooldowns, it definitely is possible, but nobody really giving that opportunity to their opponents at the moment. So pretty much everybody except for Oner is going to have their flash coming in, and Oner's cooldown on his flash is not even that long anyway, so should be able to get that one in time as well.
Yeah, it's actually up in 30 seconds, so we'll be up before that Baron comes onto the Rift. For BLG, obviously don't want to give up a Baron, but you do have Soul to fight for in a couple of minutes' time as well, whereas T1 are just looking at Soul point. Oner trying to play towards the bottom side here, seeing if Bin oversteps, but much ado about nothing as no one goes too far forward. Doran, though, staying around. Shen on the chase. Will Heroic slam him into the wall. Mega Inferno Bomb coming down as well. There's Doran's flash. The Blast Cone. He will get out, uses it. But that's a big summoner down for T1 in exchange for 3 ultimates from BLG. I
gotta tell you, I would struggle hitting that Blast Cone.
Yeah, Doran so much on top of it.
And they're spending everything to keep him from hitting it. I mean, they use everything here with the Stand United, the Viktor ultimate, the Ziggs ultimate, the Poppy ultimate. I mean, Jayce transforms too, so do we count
5 ultimates? You're right, Kobe. My mistake.
Count that one, but I mean, they invest everything, and Doran, he's able to clutch out the escape on the Blast Cone. He has to use his flash though, so we did say cooldowns for flashes. Now at the Baron though, the arrival. And the poke damage is here from BLG. Can they get it to land?
That's the thing. A lot of their poke damage doesn't need their ultimates to be effective. So if T1 are starting the Baron, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. You can just bouncing bomb, you can chuck the accelerated shock blast over there, you can chuck out a few chaos rays, and because of that, T1 have to back away, which is why BLG were okay with the fact they used all of their ultimates to get just the flash out of Doran.
Yeah, and all the other ultimates besides Shen, Stand United, are fairly short at this stage in the game, so it's definitely fine there. Just won't be having the Shen ulti for another attempt at a pick. So let's see, as they're going to be able to teleport right back out for this Dragon. T1 no, we've got to deny this Soul. And they're going to get Doran in place with the extra large shield here now.
Choices, Kobe. If you're BLG, you have the option of just going to the Baron. It's not Soul for T1. You can just give it up, or you can try and take the fight. Something BLG love to do. They'll step forward, looking for a little bit of poke. Second on the objective, they do land the shock blast onto Faker. The Drake, though, could easily be being done by Oner while all of this is happening. And in fact, that is the state of affairs as the Drake is already down to 2k. Keeper's Verdict doesn't land. Keria tries to dive onto the back line. Mega Inferno Bomb keeps Peyz and Oner out of the fight, and Keria is going to fall. He distracted BLG, but with it, he will sacrifice his life. Baron now the next objective. Big wave in the top lane as well, pinned by BLG. That's the inhibitor tower down just to the minions. BLG will turn their attentions towards the Baron, but there's always a possibility of a TP behind. Faker actually TPing to the top side. But sprinting, holy moly, he's so fast on that Cassio. With the home guards coming out and the extra moves.
Faker cutting them off!
Faker has the flank. Bin's gonna face check. Mega Blast going from Faker straight in the face of Bin and just rejoins with his team.
Oh my goodness. I mean, look at the minions in top lane that finished off the tower. Those things were threatening the inhibitor, and Faker wraps all the way around. Super blast guns instead. Does not want that heat. Keria was still respawning, and now the teleport from BLG behind.
Shen getting caught out though. Look at the damage coming out from Peyz to the floor shot. Bin does have the flank as Faker is caught out by Knight towards the top side of the fight. Arcane Storm down on the Faker Sarah shield, enough to keep him alive. Oner having to flash away from the Super Mega Inferno Bomb as Keria rejoins the fight on the top side. Faker forced away, curtains open. Knight keeps Doran at bay. But it looks like all of T1 have managed to extricate themselves from a very sticky situation.
I can't believe it. I mean, we're fighting on 3 fronts here. Knight and Faker on the right side. Shen getting beat down by the Raptors, and the teleport from Bin in the back, and yet nobody goes down. Just flashes will be expended here, and we still have eyes on this Baron. The vision setup is so critical here. When you have poke comp versus so much point and click hard engage, you need to have that safe approach angle.
What is this game, dude?
This is T1 versus BLG. This is the pinnacle of League of Legends.
It truly is. 2 of the tournament favorites butting heads in round 1. A matchup we could see again this tournament, but for now, a best of 5 between them and a match against a Lion later in the week. Or on the weekend. Don't really know what day it is, I'll be honest. It's a work day or not a work day. That's how it works at these internationals. Knight, the Medjai's at 6 stacks. Shen trying to step forward. Faker, Petrifying Gaze, doesn't find the face of Shen, and because of that, doesn't get the stun. A big ultimate to be down, but already only 40 seconds before it is back up for T1.
Whoa, Peyz!
Flash toward the satchel onto Peyz, tried to get him back, Mega Inferno Bomb, not gonna find him as well. They'll look for Keria as well as Bin steps up, Deadly Flourish lands, the root curtains open, and who is going home? On almost taking out the Guardian Angel onto Oner as he dives onto the backline. Miasma down again onto Shen, but the heroic charge finds Oner in the dark possession, locked in the cage. Shen, another Deadly Flourish, Doran finds the kill, both junglers down as BLG and T1 continue to land haymakers.
Peyz giving me a heart attack baiting there. He's trying to bait with his summoner spells and his positioning, and it ends up as a 1-for-1 with both junglers medic, which means you get to breathe for a bit because no smites for any Baron fights here. So everybody gonna take a breather and reset. But Peyz is flirting with it, and yeah, so On takes it, he flashes in to go for the engage. Peyz answers with his cleanse, with his flash, hits the W on Bin to keep the fight going, then On takes it for him, and it gets crazy as the taunt pulls him over. That's the Guardian Angel down. Shen's still gonna be able to knock him against the wall for it. And in the end, it is a pretty big win to be able to get the Guardian Angel cooldown off of Oner. So while it is jungler for jungler, it's the item cooldowns that are the longest in the game at this point.
On dashing across the wall, T1 just calling the bluff of BLG. They're going to start the Baron immediately. Faker will melt through this alongside Peyz.
They're burning it, they're burning it.
As you say, Shen not there yet, and BLG a little slow to the play. The Mega Inferno is going to do a lot of damage, but there's the Baron already over to T1. BLG will look for the fight afterwards. Can they find anything? Can they find a crack in the armor of T1 who are grouped up? Faker starting his recall. Deadly Flourish doesn't land. The Maiden doing a bit of work.
Careful.
Verdict doesn't land on 21 as Shen and Knight caught out. Cease and desist onto Knight. He's isolated. But Oner not with his team towards the top side. On and Bin are down, and Faker finds the double flash away from Shen. But the curtains are closed on BLG, and Doran is slamming the door in their face. Knight take a knee because T1 are here for your lives.
T1 burned the Baron and they turn for the fight. Clean ace for the world champions. They're going to be able to run straight to the base medic. It's already open in the top lane. They've got the Baron buff, and the base doesn't stand a chance.
In every single fight you see T1, they step forward, Keria and Oner go in, you think they're in the belly of the beast, but T1 have claws. They rip their way out, and in what is only game 1 of this best of 5, T1 will claim first blood.
And that's just game 1, everybody. If you had fun with that, we've got more where that came from. I'm sure the analysts have quite a few things to look at in this one, Medic.
What a game 1. What a game 1. We're going to hand it over to the analysts to break it down.
We have been blessed with some beautiful League of Legends here in this game 1, guys. The crowd is absolutely electric.